everyone certainly locally here in DC, I don't know if I'm the first to call you the mayor of DC.
Oh boy, oh boy.
That's, I don't know. If you like that,
I'll take it. I'm running for re-election next year.
Yeah, we'll trademark that. Rocking the pocket square. So, Erik, give it for not necessarily the folks in the room who know you guys, but for folks, many more watching this on recording. Give us a sense of the space Intermarkets sits in today.
Yeah, but,
buyers and sellers.
Yeah, absolutely. We're really fortunate that because we do have the scale, and we've been early adopters and innovators. A lot of the technology that Julie just mentioned, and even in reshaping the pricing, as Carol discussed. I mean, really going from list pricing to market value. You know, on the impression level. You know, as publishers, we're really focused on actually spending more time thinking about what buyers' needs are. And I think that's really significant because yes, the publisher benefits from, you know, evolving as we have as a media company. But, you know, when you can provide access and you can provide clarity, which the open marketplace, you know, really didn't provide, then you actually can transact at scale. And that's all buyers have been looking to do, is to be able to come out of this unclear environment and isolate what their specific needs. And that's true of a political buyer, and that's true of a brand or a consumer focused advertiser. For us, because we represent quality audiences at scale, we have been a consistent partner for, you know, 80% of our business is really consumer focused. So when it comes to political and strategic communicators of all kinds, for us, that's just an area where we excel in as well. But you know, some of that is predictable. We know when it's going to happen, and then there's also an end date, and then there's like an aftermath. And so we've always been, you know, sort of tier one buy for all sides, because we're able to reach a lot of the audiences like independents and a lot of the different blocks that really help to win elections, right? You know, so your extremes don't really, they're what they are, and so. So for us, some things that are really significant about our audiences is that really we have a 90% direct site navigated audience. And that's significant because a lot of publishers today have a mix of maybe 30 to 40% direct, you know, 10 to 15%, 20% sourced.
The rest being coming through side doors on
correct, which is an effective strategy as well, right? But for us, a lot of buyers today are looking to sort of check off that tier one category of my buys, and I know these are good quality audiences. And even beyond that, where we've spent a lot of time, and specifically for you know, political buyers, and it's very similar for some of the consumer buyers, is, you know, we started a lot of this hard work, you know, nearly 3 years ago. You know, for 2016, we started really working on it at the end of 2014, you know. And you had to take all of your tech and be able to make sure all the pipes match. You have to be able to make sure there are no restrictions on how a buyer can access your inventory, and then you can go and evangelize your supply. And most companies do it in a very different way. They want to go evangelize the supply and say, I'm worth it, I'm good, we're a match and we're good, but they don't have the other pieces lined up. And that's what leads to buyer frustration, publisher frustration. And so we actually designed ourselves to be able to support, you know, the needs of the political buyers, and a lot of it's still wrapped up in a lot of the tech that, you know, is still sort of consumer focused in terms of execution, you know.
So before we get into the future, let's talk about some of the current pain. We had predicted, check the tape, over the last 2 years that there would be this huge backlash in the private marketplace because so many publishers, including our own ad sales rep division, have challenges with certain buyers where they don't understand why they go through all this effort and it's $82 of revenue a month. Right. And so, you know, we explain, well, it was always $82 a month. You just never saw it directly because you got it through your ad network and 4,000 buyers a month, and you only got a check and you didn't see that one of them was $82. It was one of the reasons. But where have you found pockets of success today, especially in the political arena, where the juice is worth the squeeze and there's a there to justify the effort of what you've been doing, lining up your tech and targets to get your team more prepared?
Yeah, that's a great question. And just to give everyone an idea of the scale, we're working with a lot of different buyers. This year alone, we've been working with, I believe, about 52 different buyers across about 200 different campaigns. And each month we're processing nearly, 1 trillion bid requests, right? So, we have to be able to understand what's happening. These are signs of intent, right? Bidders don't bid to lose. Bidders bid to win. Therefore, if we're missing each other, like let's say a bidder is bidding 10 million times for, your inventory, and they're only winning 1 million times, you've got a problem there, right? But this is where your humans come in, and you're able to facilitate a conversation and be able to sort of connect those opportunities and increase, essentially win rate and a number of things. So, but about PMPs and what we're seeing across all of these different buyers is that there's a diversification of programmatic and premium programmatic executions. And what I mean by that is you can have your traditional storefront private marketplace deals, which are great, but that's an environment where a buyer has to go into it and go find it, and there's 10,000 new publishers, so now they're sifting through all this inventory, but it's a great demand source. But then now you've seen an evolution to striking private deals around deal ID, saying I want to isolate this particular deal, this particular product, this particular site, these particular things, and execute in that way. And now we're seeing, the evolution again through our header integrations when we can provide clarity around price point or spend and access, and it's a fair auction, and everyone understands that, what they're buying is what they're buying, and essentially now we're seeing the evolution of the PMP into that, and so, that's where we're seeing diversification across all of those products, and it happens across multiple screens, which is great, and it's really taken away, once again, sort of that unclear sort of environment where we just talked about a lot of companies are going to struggle when they're offering the tag-based solutions that, we talk about speed, there's a number of areas where speed and all those things sort of fall short. But now there's a new standard for sort of measuring time. We didn't really talk about it before, which is sort of interesting, right? We never talked about latency and these things when you had daisy chaining and things, but those things are all real there. But now we've just decided to put this metric on it up front now because we're facilitating it in a different way. But I also think that when we're talking with buyers and helping our buyers to understand how they can find what they want and make it as easy as possible, is that we've made very, very specific, strategic and tactical decisions in our ad stack. And what I mean by that is creating, an ad server relationship where we could be able to have a lot more control over the process, which is interesting to buyers. One of the hardest things to do is go in and have a conversation with a buyer around what makes you different. And that's why by design, we have built a unique ad tech stack which buyers are curious about. So, when we have the decisioning process and we have full control of that, so does the buyer. And so we actually use an ad server that most of the marketplace, does not, but we are very, very focused on being able to, create the right environment for those things to happen. And what that does is lead to amazing conversations with all buyers.
Last quick getaway question. Those buyers that are curious, feel free to give a shout out, sure, or just describe one of the top buyers in those 200 campaigns that's doing something smart now that is symbolic of the future of where programmatic buying is going, that you see, oh great, if we can get everyone to act like that, that's going to be a win for the whole industry.
Yeah, I think like Julie said earlier, everybody sort of does their own thing in a good way in their own sort of like lane. But you've got your top 5, 7 big DSPs, the big daddies. They're making all the right moves, and then you have almost like your tier 2 sort of sets, which have very unique sort of attributes. Some are regional, some are mobile focused, some are trying to reach a very particular category and exclude everything else. So they're all doing a pretty good job. And when it comes to the political buyers, and mainly right now since we're only 2 months away from election day, I'll say like all sides have actually been really savvy in being able to utilize real essential tools in being able to execute premium programmatic. All sides have been, doing an amazing job with very different tactics and very different strategies.
Great to hear. Sounds like the future is now and then only getting better. Erik, Julie, Carol, thanks. Appreciate it. Thank you.